we are up to election number 10. Previously, Billy Hughes resigned as Prime Minister so that his Nationalist Party could forge an alliance with the Country Party, led by Earl Page, who refused to support the former Labour leader. The new leader of the Nationalists would be Victorian Stanley Melbourne Bruce. Yes, his middle name was Melbourne. He was an upper-class elite and a veteran from the First World War. Bruce's first act as Prime Minister would be the formation of the first ever coalition government with Page's Country Party. This would see a lot of concessions be given to the Country Party, such as the appointment of Page to Treasurer and de facto Deputy Prime Minister, despite this not being an actual position until 1968. Page also required that 5 of his Country Party members be in the 11-member cabinet, as well as the abolishment of several Hughes-era tax and tariff policies. These were all heavy concessions, but Bruce could not risk another election, which could see Labour win government. Now with a stable majority, Bruce would oversee several major changes in Australia. His first would be the Men, Money and Market Initiative, which sought to capitalise on Australia's quick rebound economically after the First World War. Australia was a wealthy country, but lacked a substantial population to use its wealth. To combat this, Bruce would push for massive immigration from the United Kingdom to increase the population. His dream was to see a country of over 100 million people, a ridiculous number when you remember that most of the country looks like this. Bruce was also uneasy with the idea of non-British immigration due to his vehement support of the White Australia policy. This in turn limited his immigration plan. Along with increasing Australia's population, Bruce would also take a large loan from the British for massive development projects, including the now iconic Sydney Harbour Bridge, as well as the development of better roads for the growing automobile market. Bruce was also a massive supporter of the British Empire and pushed for policies such as preferential trade within the Dominion, as well as greater representation for the individual members of the Dominion in the Empire's foreign affairs. These plans would be unsuccessful, with Canada and South Africa seeking more independence, and a British public worried about the prices of goods from an exclusive trading market. The final nail in the coffin of Bruce's plans would come in 1924, with the British government's recognition of the Soviet Union. Bruce, as a staunch anti-socialist, was outraged by this decision, and this would be the start of a split between the two island nations that would see Australia push for more autonomy. Meanwhile, back home, industries were facing challenges due to court actions. When federal arbitration was established, it was designed to sort out industrial disputes affecting multiple states, but in reality it caused a duality problem. Unions and industry leaders both attempted to seek court rulings from either state or federal courts, depending on which was more likely to rule in their favour. This resulted in the Seamen's Union strike of 1925, which brought shipping to a halt in Australia, crippling the economy. After a federal ruling against the union was rejected, Bruce would pass 2 new acts which sought to open Australian ports to foreign vessels, as well as deport several of the union leaders, who were not Australian citizens. This caused massive disagreement between the federal government and the New South Wales government where the strikes were based. These moves drew outrage from the Labour opposition, who demanded an election to see if the people accepted Bruce's moves. Bruce accepted, and the election was set for the 14th of November 1925. Despite the previous election losses, Labour had regained a lot of their former strength under their current leader Matthew Charlton, and pushed forward a strong campaign against what they perceived as an overstepping of federal powers by Bruce and the coalition. Bruce, for his part, brought about the first Red Scare campaign against what he perceived as a rampant militant union action supported by Labour, which was destroying the economy. He also campaigned a lot on nationalism, taking a shot at the foreign union leaders involved in the strike. The election would be the first in Australian history to employ compulsory voting, in which Australians would be fined if they did not vote on election day. This resulted in a massive spike in voter turnout of 91.4% of eligible Australians, compared to only 59.4% in the previous election. And the winner was Stanley Bruce and the coalition, with a landslide 51 seats and 53.8% of the two-party preferred. This was a massive setback to the gains made by Labour in the previous 2 elections, and they were now back to a mere 23 seats and 46.2% of the two-party preferred. As a result, Charlton would move to resign from Labour leadership. This is also brought about due to his decaying health. Bruce would find himself reinvigorated by this large election win and push forward with his agenda to amend the constitution to sort out the industrial disputes. Along with this, he would continue his rampant development of Australia as a world power. However, as the global scene changed, Bruce would begin to face problems, which I will talk about next time. Come back next time for the election of 1928.